Hey everyone, Michelle here with the Warrior Painters podcast. In this episode, I talk to Lus Sun, a longtime warrior painter who helps host our weekly paint sessions. Lus is a self-taught painter, and most of what she's learned about plein air and gouache painting came from attending the Warrior Painter sessions and observing fellow painters. We also talked about her business ventures, selling her art, creating a YouTube channel, and how being married to a marketing professional influences her work.
Hi, my name is Luz. I have like an Etsy shop, and I do commissions and stuff like that. And then I have like a day job.
So you're kind of a hobbyist, but also you have other like art businesses.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. So have you always wanted to be an artist since you were a kid?
I think I answered in like a question about like what you want to do when you grow up. It was like at first, because I'm like, I have always a story. It's never just like a short answer. So it's like, oh, at first I wanted to be an artist, but they're only famous when they die. So I don't want to do that anymore.
You knew that as a kid?
Yeah. So then I was like, I'm just going to be a secretary because it sounded
Really?
cool. Yeah. I was like, I don't want to be a lawyer. I want to be a secretary, a lawyer secretary to be specific, because I thought that would be cool.
A lawyer secretary or secretary to a lawyer?
That, secretary to a lawyer.
Ah. And did you feel that way like all the way through school, high school?
No, I think once I hit high school and I started to watch like anime and like, I started getting into like Hayao Miyazaki's films and stuff like that. I was like, I want to be a storyteller. So then I was like, I'm going to art school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where did you go to art school?
I went to the Art Institute in Inland Empire.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
Yeah. Yeah, they had really cool workshops.
I remember I did drive all the way out there once for a workshop. I can't remember what it was for though.
Yeah, they had a lot of really good ones, and they were free too. I was like, yes.
Yeah, that's what was great. But it's such a far drive, obviously. But like, oh, free workshop, sure, why not?
Yep.
Was it animation program or illustration?
I think it was called Media Arts and Animation.
Okay. It was animation.
Yeah, animation.
Oh,
but
cool.
Yeah, it was mostly like 3D stuff too. And I was just like, eh. Yeah.
Did you take any art classes when you were little?
I remember during class, we had like a little space where it's like, oh, on Fridays we have art classes or what have you. I think one time we had a school play, and you could volunteer to be like prop designer and stuff like that.
Oh, that's fun. And you got to make props for that?
I was actually the art director.
You were the art director. Nice. Wow, started young.
Yeah, it was really funny. I was like, it needs more texture. Add more barnacles. I was like,
you know what? That sounds like exactly what an art director would do, right?
Yeah, I was like, where's all that confidence at?
So were you a pretty confident kid?
I think for some reason when I was younger and it came to art, like, because when you're little and you're in a classroom, I think it was like 4th grade, and it's like when you're too cool to do art or like coloring and stuff like that, it sounds like kid stuff, and kids are like, oh, I'm trying to be like a grown-up or whatever. So because of that, no one else was trying. And I was just like, yeah, art is the best. And I was just intense.
The kids thought they were too cool for art?
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, I used to like anything creative. It was really funny. Like I used to hide with an old classmate. We would bring our Barbies and we would like have plays.
Oh.
But we didn't want anyone to see us because like we would be dorks. So yeah.
Okay, so being an artist was like being a nerd.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to be like, what were those platform shoes, and like the Spice Girls and like all the cool stuff. Yeah. And I was not there.
No, you were not about that.
No.
Oh. But now being an artist, I think it's considered cool, right?
Yeah, because I feel a lot of people think that like if you're an artist, you're an entrepreneur. So right now, like if you're your own boss, like, it's like the coolest thing you can do. So now it's like hip to be an artist.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
When did you start doing plein air painting?
So I think I first heard of it because I went to a workshop at the Inland Empire. I forget his name, but I think he's working on Scooby-Doo right now because he keeps posting.
Oh, is it Zach Retz?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So he had a workshop out there, and I made Cynthia go with me. And we ended up going and we followed him, and he always posted about like his plein air, and he talked about it. So then after that, Cynthia, I made her go to a party with me. And it was like a bunch of artists, and like it was, I don't remember who was there, but one of the people who was there, they had a little club, like a plein air club, and Cynthia got invited, and she's like, you have to go with me. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I went, and then I was like, yeah, this is cool and relaxing, and it was a lot of fun. I ended up like really loving like doing plein air and just going out into nature and painting.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you were already part of a painting group before you joined the Warrior Painters.
Yeah.
So how did you join the Warrior Painters then?
Cynthia.
Oh, Cynthia?
Yeah. Like the other plein air group, because a lot of them were in school, and they ended up just kind of like not showing up. So it was always like just me and Cynthia and someone else. She was like, hey, there's another painting group if you want to continue to do it. And I was too shy to go at first, but then she went with me, and then after that, I just kept going.
Oh, that's great. Migrated over to Warrior Painters and been there ever since.
Yes.
How long ago was that? Do you remember?
I think it might have been like 2017, maybe 2017, 18.
Okay. And you've been consistent ever since, which is great. And now you're helping to host paint sessions.
Yeah. I've always been really shy about like doing stuff like that. So it's cool that I get to, try to do that now.
You mean shy, like planning and organizing groups and stuff? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm always like more of a follower. Like I tend to shy away from making decisions and stuff like that for larger groups. I'm not shy to talk to people, but then I'm shy to do things, if that makes any sense. Like I'm pretty
try something different or try something new.
Kind of, yeah.
That's why you have Cynthia.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
We don't see Cynthia as much anymore.
No, she's prego.
Oh,
yeah.
Congrats to her.
I know. I'm so excited.
Aw, that's exciting.
Yeah, I know. It's just crazy. I'm like, whoa, we're grown-ups. Yay.
I know. And then you just got married recently.
Yes.
So many big life events.
Yeah.
I think when you first started with us and we'd have paint sessions, you guys would just like talk about dating.
Yeah.
Right? And then suddenly you met somebody. And then,
He's pretty awesome. He does marketing. So he's always just like, oh, try this, try that. And I'm like, maybe later. But
that's good because he pushes you.
Yes.
And you guys have like a good partnership.
Yes. I'm a little stubborn, but it definitely is. He helps me a lot.
You do stuff on Etsy and then recently on YouTube. And you said Tom was the one who like pushed you to do YouTube or?
Yeah, I think because I draw all the time and I'm always like, I have my little side projects and stuff like that. I don't share them often. So when I started sharing with him, he was just like, why aren't you like doing something with it. This is so good. And I was just like, really? You think so? Because I can be kind of shy about stuff like that too. And I don't know, he's like super supportive and it's like pretty awesome. Like,
That's great.
yeah, he has like a really easy way of putting ideas together, like stuff I would never think about. Like, I know what I like, but then he sees that there's like a market for something and he's like, maybe you can think about this. And everything's easy for him. It's so funny. I'm like, well, what about? He's like, don't worry about it. We can figure it out. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess.
Oh, that's so great. He's supportive and comes up with these great ideas.
Yeah, he's really interesting. He had done a lot of like his own businesses. He's also sold companies. Like he made something, it worked out, someone saw it, liked it, took over it. And I'm just like, you're my age.
Yeah, so accomplished.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, how? But he's just like really driven and it's a little contagious, so it's pretty cool.
Do you find with your experience with plein air painting now, has that changed or influenced the kind of art that you do? Because you seem to do a whole range of stuff, right?
Yeah. I never thought I would be really into painting because I thought
really?
was so hard. Yeah. Like I was always just a doodler. Like I would just draw and like I love drawing faces and like drawing people. That was my thing. And then when I started doing plein air, it's interesting because I feel that before I was doing plein air, I was only seeing lines.
Mm.
But then once I started painting, it kind of like clicked how like, we're in space and like volume and all that stuff. So I think it helped with my drawings, honestly.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I really appreciate it. I love playing with gouache. I've tried acrylic and watercolor, but for sure I think gouache is just like easier.
Have you taken any painting classes before?
Not. I mean, I had a class in college. It was color theory, so we did a lot of painting, but it wasn't specifically like learning certain techniques. I think most of the stuff that I know or the stuff that I picked up, like the techniques and stuff, was mostly from you guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so just watching you guys and like Angela's videos, and I haven't actually taken any classes.
Wow, that's amazing. So you're very much self-taught then when it comes to painting.
Traditional painting, yes. I mostly did digital painting for school. Right now, for whatever reason, just digital painting is like the hardest thing in the world to me. It's just so hard.
I know how that feels.
Yeah. It's so weird. Like nothing comes out the way I want it to.
Yeah, it's there's just so many options, I feel, and it can get kind of overwhelming while painting traditionally. It's you just have these colors, you just have your brush, and then that's all you work with. And things seem to come out better.
Yeah.
At least for me.
No, I agree. Yeah, same. I think the most successful like paintings that I have digital are just like super simple, like just like stripped down to like the core shapes. Because anything beyond that, it gets too complicated for me. It's just hard.
Now, do you prefer painting digitally or traditionally?
I think for sure traditionally. It's more satisfying. And then like you get all paint all over you and then you're just all cleaned up and I don't know, it's fun. And it gets you to go out. I mean, it got me to go out and meet other, artists and stuff. So that's pretty valuable. It makes it fun and you learn and it's honestly like a super awesome community.
You live pretty far out compared to a lot of the people in the group because we hold a lot of our paint sessions like in similar area, Burbank or Glendale, but you were still coming out every weekend, even though, weren't you living in San Bernardino?
Yeah.
Right? It's like an hour drive.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was nothing near San Bernardino, or at least nothing that I knew. So to me, it just made sense to go out there and paint. Plus, like, I feel like there's always a lot going on out in Glendale, LA, like even Alhambra. I used to go to Alhambra all the time, even though I didn't live there, just because I love the food there.
So it seemed like you would kind of make a day or an event out of it when you come out. You weren't just going for the paint session. Maybe afterwards you go explore the area or
Yeah,
get some food like
yeah,
Alhambra and stuff. So it really did make you go out and explore the city more.
yeah.
See,
It was a lot of fun. And I recommend anyone who can to just do it, like to just go out by yourself and on a train ride, whatever, like drive somewhere you don't know, like by yourself, and it's a lot of fun.
oh wow,
Like,
do you do that a
yeah,
lot?
I used to, not anymore because like I'm always with Tom.
Yeah.
But like I used to go out there to the museums, I used to go to like the movies by myself. It's I don't know, it's just interesting. Like I feel like a lot more would happen when I'm by myself.
Like
And
you interact with more people maybe?
yeah, I think more people are, I guess I kind of look like I'm nice. So
You do. And you are nice.
so people are always like approaching me, and if someone talks to me and I don't feel like weirded out, I'm going to talk to them. So you
Hmm.
learn a lot about like different peoples or different areas, and people will warn you like, hey, don't go down that way. That's
Oh
not
yeah,
safe.
that's good.
So I'm like, oh, thanks. So it's fun. It's nice to just be with your own thoughts sometimes. It's funny because even before I did the other Plein-air group, I was going out to draw with a group of people out in Hollywood
Oh wow,
who
how many art groups are you a part of?
that group also kind of like they broke apart, but so it was called Sketchy Sketchers, and we would go out to like coffee shops and we would draw people. Before that group, I would never ever drive that far because I hate driving. But
Mm-hmm.
then after I found a reason to drive, I was like, all right, that's fine. I guess I will drive like far just so I can draw with other people.
That's great. And do you
Yeah.
feel now that you need somebody to come with you if you were to go somewhere, like join a group for the first time? Do you still feel shy about that, or you feel a little bit more okay?
I think I'm a little bit more okay. Like
Yeah,
just I think sometimes when there's like too many people,
yeah,
it's a little bit like I get a little anxious. I'm like, ah.
yeah. I feel like I have a similar anxiety like that. We're going to something new with a big group of people. I'm always like, I'd rather stay home or have someone
Yeah.
with me. But I feel like the times that I have just like, okay, I'm going to go. I've never regretted it.
Yeah, it's fun. Like, and then you surprise yourself too, you know?
Oh, that's great. Do you have any kind of art routine? Like, do you try to do some kind of art every day, or like painting or drawing, or it's just whenever you feel like it?
So before the whole COVID thing happened, I would try to do something every day. But then once it hit, I got a little anxious, and then
Mm.
sometimes I just needed to like watch TV or play video games or something to like keep my mind away. I just recently I started to write down my long-term goals. So I watched this YouTuber. Her name is Furry Little Peach. She has like a YouTube channel, and then she does her own fun stuff, and then she has like an illustration career. So she works with a lot of companies. So she was kind of like breaking down how she does it. So I am slowly trying to kind of work in a schedule slash long-term goal.
Do you have any of that outlined right now, like your long-term goal or your immediate goals?
I have a comic book that I've had like an idea for like the longest time. I pitched it to a bunch of like friends, and I'm like, I want to do this, but I haven't actually done anything with it. So that's to actually get started on that is a a long term goal.
Good goal.
And yeah. And then I have a comic book that I started, or little comic strips that I started right before COVID happened. Like I always have interesting things happen because like random people talk to me and they share their stories. So it's called The People We Meet, or The People I Meet, or something like that. And it's just like a collection of stories. So I started it right before COVID, and then that happened, and now I don't really see a whole lot of people. So I kind of had to put that on pause. But that's another long-term goal, to have at least 10 of them done so I can start posting them. My YouTube channel is a long-term goal, to just kind of build an audience. And if I were to have a Patreon, like what would people want? And then there's the other long-term goals, like buying a house and
the big life goals.
The big life goals. Yeah.
Do you see yourself having like your independent art business become a full-time thing?
Yeah. I mean, I would like to. I hope so. That's
the long-term goal?
That's the long-term goal for sure. And for right now, I think Etsy and selling my own artwork and like, you know, like portraits and stuff like that I like to do makes sense for right now, until I can really figure out. Like, I don't think I have to decide. I think there's always like kind of like room to wiggle around, but I won't get anywhere unless I start somewhere and I try. So this is me trying.
Yeah. It sounds like you're still trying to stay open-minded and whatever art goals and projects you want to do.
Yeah.
And that can change. So you said right now you're doing portraits, right?
Yeah, I do like pet portraits, people. I've recently did a couple commissions for someone. It started out with like an architecture. It's super famous architecture out in the wild, or it like blends in with the forest, and it has like waterfalls. I forget what it's called, but it was really cool. I did it, and he came back and wanted to have portraits of his wife for her YouTube channel. So I'm like, well, I have what is it called? Like a repeating customer. I must be doing something good.
Yeah. What about your plein air paintings? Would you want to sell them?
I don't know why. Like, I tend to be more attached of those than I am of like just like illustrations. But it would be cool, I think, if I sold them.
Yeah, and I think if you sell your older piece, you might as well sell them, because a year later you'll look at it and be like, oh, I can do so much better. I should have like made whatever money I could have off of this.
This is
in the moment you're attached, obviously, but just keep thinking about like in the future, oh, I'm going to be so much better. I'm going to do an even better painting than this.
That's good advice. I will write that down for myself.
Yeah. Or you can make a book or something, and you don't have to be away from lose your painting. So what kind of landscape or location do you like to paint?
I like anything with like trees or flowers. Just because I feel like organic shapes are a lot more forgiving than anything with architecture.
Agreed.
Yeah. And I don't know, they're just fun. And then you can practice like grouping stuff, and like the whole grouping thing, when like before I figured out that you could group things, like I was so confused. I was like, how do people paint this? It never even occurred to me that you could just, you know, like group stuff and then have like the shape language and all that stuff. That I was amazed.
And you said you learned a lot about painting. Was it from watching people do it from the group, or just looking at their paintings that they post?
I think from both. And then also Cynthia's boyfriend, he used to teach. He would always help us and kind of like tell us, oh, well, you know, the light is this and the blah, 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 and all the smart stuff. And I was like, oh, it makes sense now. It's almost like having like our own little personal tutor whenever we would go paint and he was there. And then also, I feel if I go to paint with you guys, basically everyone had like good suggestions on how to look at it, or, you know, like it's just easy to learn when people are so like interested in kind of like sharing all the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy. Like you just ask.
Yeah.
And yeah, or just like looking at your painting them and I'd be like, why are they so successful? Let's try to figure it out.
Reverse
They read
engineer
well.
it.
Yeah. So I mean it's really hard, but if anything, I knew that I could just ask you to, like
Yeah,
so it's easy to learn when people are willing to teach you.
that's true. Yeah. And it's great to have a group where everyone is also learning and also teaching each other as well.
Yeah. It's like really cool too, because if I go online and I'm just like, I'm seeing all your guys' paintings and I'm like, oh, dang, like I've slacked off. Let me get back into it.
Yeah, the peer pressure.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's like good peer pressure too. It's more like, oh, everyone else is trying so hard. I'm going to try hard too.
Yeah, it's not a competitive environment.
Yeah.
So I have one last question for you. What are some tips that you could offer to people who want to start plein air painting?
Just have fun. Like start with having fun. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. And then also, I know it's really tempting to try to go out and buy like the best materials in the world. Maybe don't even worry about stuff like that. Just use what you have and then work your way up to buying, rewarding yourself with like fancy stuff later on. Because I feel that when I started, I went out and I tried buying like the most, like, I don't know, recommended brands and everything. And I wasted it so much. It was so bad. Like my brushes were destroyed. Like I just don't take care of brushes. So if you are, a careful person, cool, do you. But if you're on the messier side, don't buy super expensive brushes, especially because you're just learning. So just keep that in mind. Doesn't have to be perfect. Have fun.
Great.
Yay.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I feel like I learned a lot.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, you gave us a lot of really, really good advice. I think people will appreciate. Thanks for listening. We love hearing from you. So please leave a comment and share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this podcast and want to see more from the Warrior Painters, please consider donating to our Gumroad. You'll find the link in our description. Thanks, and see you again soon.